Remember how I was telling you guys about wasps that eat the fence? Well, not really eat it, but they take pieces of it to build their nest. This is what I was talking about. See, look, he's scraping the wood with his mandibles or whatever the hell, his teeth, and then they fly off and they go find the nest. Look, there's another one here. They're all over. And they do this all year until they build their nests. I bet we can find another one. Yeah, there's one there. There's another one over there. All right, so I've been doing some work here on the pipes, and there's this pipe over here that's just hanging up here that doesn't have anything. That's one I'm about to replace. Now you see how there's a CPVC pipe that goes this way, the white one, and then there's a galvanized steel one up here, and then it goes into a copper pipe that goes this way. And then there's a little tap where you tap into the copper line. That goes over to the humidifier. We also had another copper pipe that went from here, but it was all messed up. I already replaced that because it was leaking, so I replaced this. So now this is CPVC. Those two pipes there go to the sink. That's hot and cold water. I'm just trying to show how this was all done originally because I'm making some changes. See how there's one that goes back this way? But after following it, it just goes this way over here. And there's two open areas where there's nothing, right? So I'm gonna assume this was probably for something in the kitchen. There might have been some sort of utility sink there or something, I'm not sure. This used to be going into a closet inside the kitchen. I'm gonna remove these for now because even if I do wanna put a sink or if I wanted to put something in that closet, these aren't the right kind of pipes to be using for that right now. I mean, I guess I could just put PEX or CPVC, whatever I have at the moment, I'll turn. But I'm gonna remove these for now. They're just kind of dangling here anyway. They haven't even been attached to anything, so I'm gonna remove those so they're not in the way anymore. This line was the cable line. It's not really being used at this end of the house. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pull it down or not. I wrapped it up in the corner there. It used to just hang down here and it was just dangling in the basement. So I'm gonna go ahead and decide what I want to do with that line because most of the internet here is all Wi-Fi anyway, and the only line I really need is in the computer room at the moment. If I want to run lines to the other rooms, they'll still be available to be ran. I'll leave everything connected so that they can be connected back up, but I don't need wires hanging here that are useless. This thing here is just an open wire. There's no cover on it or nothing, but it's connected, so I'm gonna end up pulling that. They installed a new meter here, a new water meter, so you can see every month how much water I'm using. It looks like a lot from all these leaks I've been having. But anyway, back on this side, you can see here there's a gas pipe there that is capped off in case anybody wants to tap into it and use it. It's not really necessary, but we'll leave that alone. This one here is going back to the galvanized steel that goes over to the washer and dryer in the bathroom that's behind this closet, not being used. I'm probably going to pull those out and put different type of plumbing in here that runs up against the joists as well, so they're not just hanging down like this and being tied up. They weren't actually tied up at all when I moved in. That's why they were probably all burst and broken, but I went ahead and put those ties there just to keep them from having all that weight pulling down on the pipes that's going to eventually lead to cracking again and breaking. CPVC is not the best, so probably not going to keep that. I can find a better solution, maybe PEX, I'll do that. All these wires here that are just dangling, and I believe these are phone wires. They're not being used. Probably remove this phone wire that's just been dangling. I believe that's also a cable line over there, so I'm gonna have to tie that up. I tied all of the cable lines up here because I ran a line into this room that I needed. But there's a lot of other stuff here that needs to be redone and finished. These lines here aren't the right ones to be hanging out like that. None of that would ever actually pass inspection. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix all this wiring. These pipes too, I don't like the way they are. I'll probably move them back here eventually. I already removed the ones that were here hanging yesterday that go into this bathroom. I'll replace them with something that's more against the wall or inside the wall so that we can hide these. There's no reason for them to be sticking out here, and I could probably put the washer and dryer in here and then have extra hose going in there for that bathroom to work. Those copper pipes that are up there, those lead into the bathroom, we're leading the water into the bathroom here, but that can be replaced as well. We don't really need that to be copper. So but yeah, I don't really like the way that this is all set up here, just dangling, because it ends up breaking. It wasn't even hanging up there correctly. I had to put that up once it was done. There's leaks over there in the corner, so I added some more of the glue. Except that one there is nice. It goes all the way along here. back down so that we have water in the backyard. And we got a little hose thing. I fixed this because this burst again during the winter. I think the door hit it and water was spraying everywhere, so I had to replace all that. But it seems to be working now. And then I also put a couple more clamps here to hold it up against the wall because, again, this was just dangling down, which is probably another reason why it broke. Here I'll probably be replacing this door, obviously. I mean, it's all broken up and everything, and painting these walls, but that's not a big deal. Connected this to the water heater as well, so once I run the water, clean out the bottom of the water heater because there's sediment and stuff that builds up there, and it hasn't been cleaned out in probably over 5 years. I already turned the gas off and everything to make sure that it wasn't trying to run without any water in there. She wanted to join. You don't like it?
Oh. I don't even think we've opened it. Oh, never mind. I could see how it could be okay. It's not the worst. I used to have that like watermelon salad stuff, and it had like a vinaigrette type thing that was like kind of like soury, like mustard would be, and that was good. And it has like feta cheese too. It was good.
I think Luna's trying to steal herself a snack too. What else would be good?
This is the poppy seed dressing.
On watermelon?
This. I don't see why not. Whoa, shit.
Food science.
It's good, but actually somehow the mustard's better. It's not bad though. I don't get it. Look at what she's doing.
Yeah, because the hole is there for the AC.
He's smart. He won't let me flip him on his back. Do you see that? Skill. I'm fair to run me.
Look at this one. Hey, Corp. There's a wolf back there.
You wanna see? Look.
Oh, I don't think he likes it.
I don't think he likes it.
See if she likes it.
Twiggy, look, look.
No, she doesn't. He's really starting to care about it. You thought he was gonna go after it? In this room here, this was the room that has the AC unit. I removed some of the pipes that weren't being used, and then I fixed the ones that were leaking and tried to get them up against the ceiling the best I could. All new brackets on there to hold them in, fixed the leaks in the corners and everything. There's a few more things to fix, but overall, it looks a lot better than it did. So I painted some of these vents so that they looked a lot nicer because they were really gross and dirty looking and everything. There's a couple spots where there was leaking air, and I guess somebody had taped it up, but there were still parts where the tape was coming up, so I added some more tape, but I'm gonna fix that at a later time. There is a panel here that I painted over to and resealed and everything, I had opened it up and vacuumed all inside of here because it was all dusty. There's a ton of dust in there. Same thing with the top of the vents and all of these gaps up here. I started get all of spider webs out and all of that were there, and I started filling some of it in with foam. This was the leftover foam from the RV and stuff that I removed from the RV. Same thing with all of these desks here that I built. This is actually, I think, either a wall or one of the desk units from the RV, or maybe the bench. And then I think this was from the roof of the RV, and so was this. And then that backboard there that I put up, that whole thing was part of the roof of the RV as well that I removed. You can see how rotten it is. I plan on maybe painting this at some point, and I have more of this trim, so I have a nail gun. I'll probably just use the air compressor, nail them in, and, you know, cut the right size for all four sides. It'll look a lot better. What I did was I put these were like half of 2x4s, forget the number, but yeah, that, I know they're not exactly 2x4 in the beginning anyway before you cut them, so put them up on the brick walls with anchors, and then I basically just screwed that part of the roof from the RV onto those two boards quite a few times. Added a shelf, and then this I haven't all screwed together yet, the shelf down here, because I don't know exactly how long of a shelf I want to make. I might make it all the way up to the end of the legs. I don't know, you guys tell me what you think I should do. Same thing here, that shelf's not actually on anything, but I think I'm gonna go just a tad bit higher, but then it gives me room to like pull out the trash if I need to, you know. There is water that still comes in from the bottom. I did seal everything, but there's water that's still leaking in from the outside. So I'm gonna assume, because this is an old house, all of the water sealing membranes that go outside the house were probably never installed for this house. I'm gonna keep everything that can get ruined off the ground. Like, that box is gonna have to come up off the ground, otherwise it's gonna get all moldy and wet. And I did notice there used to be water that I thought came up from that corner, which was, I think, from the roof leaking in whenever it rained. But there's like a fireplace right behind there too, so maybe there was a part of the fireplace that was like leaking and it was dropping down. But now that I see the water coming in from the corners here, I'm thinking maybe that's where the water was coming from and not actually up on the roof. I have to double check everything once it rains again, because I'll have to go to the roof. But you can see down here it's kind of wet, and that's all because it leaks in from the corners here. So I have to find maybe a better way to either seal it, or I guess that's just something you have to allow for these old basements to just leak out, and then that's probably why they have a bunch of drains everywhere. I'm just trying to kind of show everything that was done here. This thing was all leaking air before, so I covered it up and closed it so that it was no longer just blowing air conditioner air out there since that door's open. These hooks here I found actually in the drain. There's another drain here in this room. Yeah, anyway, oh, there's a screw in there. The washer wasn't draining properly, so it was like flooding everything in that room back there with the washer and dryer. When I looked down there with a camera, this thing here, I put it down the drain, and I was able to see that there's a bunch of roots down there and there's broken pipes, so underground. So that means that, you know, the concrete would have to get ripped up and the pipes replaced. But I'm not dealing with any of that right now. I poured stuff to kill roots and all that in the drain, and it seemed to have opened it up enough to where it's not stopping me from being able to do the laundry anymore, so that's good. So because of that problem, I put a vacuum down in the drain in that room, and I ended up vacuuming out a bunch of stuff that was in there. There were these, right? This ball was in there. There was a dice in there. There's a little Lego dude. I also added an extra shelf here so that I can have all of the fluids and cleaning supplies and spray paints and all that kind of stuff go in here. My toolboxes and everything can go up there. And then I added a couple of shelves here because it just makes it easy to store this stuff. That way I can have all my tools or screws and bolts and whatever else, and I left the spot on the bottom open to store extra little pieces of wood or anything I might have there. This thing all got cleaned out too. And I added like anti-rust to this, and maybe I'll just have to spray it or paint it with some sort of Rust-Oleum stuff so it doesn't keep rusting up like this. There we go, I painted it. Now I just gotta paint the bricks around it. So this looks so much better now. It won't be all rusty either. I basically use this stuff here. I used some of the white paint that was left over, and I can see this rust is coming through the paint, so probably have to sand that down too eventually and just spray it with Rust-Oleum as well. It's just the beam that holds up the house, but it was all rusty, so I want to paint it, but not if it's going to come through like that. So I need to use some of this stuff probably. Ended up cleaning up some of this area too, but I still got to do these floors and the walls and everything. But I guess you can kind of see what it looked like before, and then whenever I end up doing it, you guys will see what it looks like. This is just trash, it needs to go out.